Hey, welcome to Vance Tried It. Today we're going to be trying to make some Butter Swim Biscuits. Now this is based on a video that Miss Justine did. I'm going to put that video down in the description so you can go check it out. But let me just tell you up front. She says in this video she's making Butter Swim Biscuits, but she's not really doing that. So let me tell you, as I was watching the video, I just immediately knew there was stuff going wrong. First off, she used like 2 cups of butter. Typically when you're making Butter Swim Biscuits, you're using half a cup, so 1 stick versus 4 sticks. And then she tried to do it with frozen biscuits, and I'm sure the biscuits tasted good having been cooked in the butter, but a couple problems. 1, it wasted a whole bunch of butter, and 2, the whole beauty of Butter Swim Biscuits is that those biscuits just soak up that butter as they're baking, and that's what makes them so tender and fluffy and just delicious. But the frozen biscuits really aren't going to soak up all that butter. So I'm going to do 2 things. First off, I'm going to try to make some Butter Swim Biscuits with canned biscuits. I don't know how well this will work, but if anything has a chance without making your own biscuit dough, it is canned. So we're going to try it, and we'll see if that works or not. But then I'm going to make actual from scratch Butter Swim Biscuits, because I want you to see just how easy it is. Butter Swim Biscuits are by far the easiest biscuits you can make. Now I'm going to have to cook these in 2 different batches because these canned biscuits require a different temperature than the made from scratch biscuits we're going to make. So I'll be making both of them, and we will compare and contrast. We will see if this works at all and how it compares to real Butter Swim Biscuits. So let's go ahead and get started. I have here just a round pan here, and there is a half a cup of melted butter in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to just squeeze all of these biscuits right into this small pan. And that's really part of what we want. We want them to be squeezed in. So we're going to just see how much squeezing we're going to have to do to get them all in here. But we definitely want them all touching, and this probably means we're really going to have to get them spread out just like that. And y'all can see how that is. I can't tip it up too much or the butter will pour out, but they are just soaking there in that butter. So we have our oven heated to 375 degrees. I didn't have to smash them up too much. I was afraid I was going to have to really smash them together to get them all in here, but they all actually went in there and kept their size pretty good. So I think we'll be able to bake them at what temperature, or at the time length that it says, which is about 15 minutes in the oven. So we're going to go ahead and put them in there and see how these turn out. And we'll get back to you when those are done cooking, and we will take them out, and then we will start our made from scratch Butter Swim Biscuits. So I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Okay, so we have been in here for about 15 minutes here, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and check on these. Look through the oven door, and they looked like they were perfectly done. So let's go ahead and get these out and move on to our next step of making homemade Butter Swim Biscuits. Oh yeah, I mean, look at that. Those look glorious in there. So we're just going to set these over here off to the side, let them cool a little bit. Now we're going to turn up our temperature to 425. It should not take too long at all to get that up to temperature since it was at 375 already. And then we will go ahead and make our homemade biscuit dough. So there's our half a cup of melted butter. Just put it in. I use an 8x8 baking pan here, casserole dish. And so what I have here is 2.5 cups of self-rising flour. So it's important that you use self-rising flour for these biscuits. So make sure you use that. If you don't have self-rising flour, you can make some. You can find online the ways you can take all-purpose flour and make it into self-rising, but you can just get self-rising flour. And then I have here 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to put that in the flour, and then we're just going to whisk this together. And so whisking flour is the modern version of sifting flour. So I don't know if any of you have any of those old-fashioned sifters, but mine, oh my goodness. When I try to use it, it just catches and stops, and it's super hard to work with. And so really, if you just take and put your flour in a large bowl and use a wire whisk and just whisk it up really well, then that is going to do really the same thing as your sifter. And the other thing is, you can go ahead and put your salt or your sugar in this case, or maybe you have spices, cinnamon or something, whatever you're doing, you can put that right in there. And then when you're whisking your flour, you get all of that other powder mixed all the way in with it. So we have that sifted up. And here's the great thing about this. This is really a 3 or a 4 ingredient, if you count the butter, recipe. So what I have here is 1 3/4 cup of buttermilk. Now, you want to use buttermilk for this, not just straight milk. You can make your own buttermilk. Once again, you can find online some places that will tell you how to do it, but I always just buy buttermilk from the store and get that going. And now we're just going to mix this all together, get it all combined. And we really just want to go until it is nice and combined. And really what that just means is until we don't see any more dry spots in here. And so once we get it to where we're not seeing any dry spots in here, guess what? We're just going to stop. Because one of the worst things you can do with biscuits is overwork them. And this does not take long at all. In fact, we are about 20 seconds away from having this just the way we want it. Right now we're just looking for any clumps, and I don't see any at all. So, just like that. Now we're going to take it and we're just going to put this whole thing right into the butter. We're going to be careful here. We don't want to make a big splash. So we're just going to put it all in here, just like that. And now we're just going to push it down in here. We're going to get it swimming in the butter. That's the whole point. It's called Butter Swim Biscuits for a reason, because we make it actually swim in the butter. And so you're going to see some of that butter come up over the edges, and that is exactly what we want. So we're just going to get it down in there, make sure it's all out to the sides. Try to get it fairly even along the tops. Just like that. And we're going to grab us another one of these spatulas just to get some of that dough off of here. Make sure it all gets in there. Just like that. And then, while it's sitting here and before we cook it, we're actually going to cut it or score it. So I'm just going to take this knife right here, and we're just going to cut it into about 9 even pieces. Just like that. And we are up to temperature on our oven. So we're going to put this in here. And this is going to cook for 20 to 25 minutes. So we'll just come back and see what it looks like. I imagine it'll probably be closer to 20 than 25. So we'll check it at 20 minutes. We'll take it out and then we will compare the canned Butter Swim biscuit to the homemade Butter Swim biscuit. I'll see y'all in about 20 minutes. Okay, I believe our homemade Butter Swim biscuits are done. So let's take them out and have a look. Ooh, that's hot. Oh my goodness. Would you look at that? That is beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. So I think you can see like the difference. These just look like biscuits, and I think they're probably going to be better than had we just put them in there without the butter. But there's a difference between this and this. Well, let's get them on a plate side by side and see what we have. We'll see what they look like side by side, and then we'll see what they taste like. So here we have our canned biscuits, and here we have our homemade Butter Swim biscuits. Just pop this bad boy out of here. Oh, would you look at that? It looks so fluffy and smells buttery. Let's try the canned biscuit first. See how that comes out. So the biscuit definitely soaked up some of the butter. Like I said, it's better probably than if I just put it on a baking sheet and cooked it, but not significantly better probably than just baking it and opening it up and putting some butter on it. But now let's try our homemade biscuit. First off, it is crunchy on top and it is crunchy on bottom. The canned ones did not get crunchy on bottom, but there is this nice, beautiful crust on the bottom where it was cooking in that butter. I can't even hold it all together. Oh, wow. Look. This, it kind of worked. It did soak up some of the butter. I don't know if it's worth it. This, on the other hand, the homemade biscuit, oh, this is what biscuits are supposed to be. And like I said, super simple. And so hopefully you can see, it really almost took me the same amount of time to put this biscuit dough together as it did to open up this can of biscuits and put them in this pan. So as simple as it is, and as delicious as it is, and as versatile as it is, because you can make this all sorts of different flavors. I'm just thinking like you could put some jalapenos in here and make some jalapeno biscuits. You could put some cheese in there. You could make it sweet. You could put some cinnamon and some more sugar in there. There are so many things that you can do with these Butter Swim biscuits, and they are delicious. Hey, I tried it. You should too.